Hi, how is everybody doing today? We're back to this sketchbook. Let me just put my wedges on. And yeah, so today I was thinking, on one hand, I really did not want to do any art today or just do something crafty today. But I thought that, hey, it's mermaid, so I might still give it a shot and try and finish another batch of mermaids inspired by real sea creatures. So last stream I colored these two girlies, and today I will take another batch. So maybe the next one. Well, wait, I will make sure that these are indeed the next one. So 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so these are the next ones. So let me find my reference pictures for these, because I don't believe that I have the pictures for them in my ref folder. By the way, there is something that I am working on in the behind the scenes. First off, I have I'm preparing two big resources for myself on the skin tones and hair colors, how I would color them in my style, to have like aid as a resource like somewhere down the line. I did the same for the eye colors not that long ago. So yes, I'm doing this, and also in my vast Excel I made a separate spreadsheet in my Excel. Yeah, a separate worksheet in my Excel that I titled completed list. So this is like a counter to my whip list, which will host the completed pictures. And I went only through the folder from 2016, 17, and partially from 2018. And so far I have 262 finished pictures that are either on my DeviantArt folder, they are mostly in my DeviantArt folder, or archived somewhere on the net, on the internet, or they are given away as gifts. So yeah, this is something I am doing for myself. I am putting like some text inside because I want to be able to search my art with tags. And you know, if there is like an OC that I want to find all the pictures with that OC, that I will have it here. So for example, I have the title of the picture, in which sketchbook I have it, what is the date, or at least the year, or at least the month, if I can't estimate when I made it. So yeah, at what date I did this. Does it contain any of my OCs or any OCs of other people? If yes, which OCs, names, or at least initials? In what medium I did this? Then theme/text, and then what folder on my PC they are in. So it might help me clean it even more, which is great. I love it, and I think it would be good for my mental health to not only check how much art I have on my whip list, which is mostly sketches, but how much art I actually completed through my lifetime. And I think this is something good for me, because I need to remind myself that, Nina, you did some good freaking art. And I look back at some art from 2018 and I'm like, bruh, I did this in 30 minutes. Like, really? Me? So yeah, so I need to remember that sometimes Nina from 2018, who inked these girlies, had also some good ideas. So yeah, and we need to celebrate that. So also one thing I want to show you is that I assembled this stand. So here it is. Unfortunately, the joint is really loose. So I need to tighten, I would need to tighten the joint, especially on these two bars, the outer bars. So I will hope to use some tricks that people who are into action figures do. That they are using a fast, dry nail polish. So I don't even wear nail polish that much, so I bought like a clear nail polish only to use to tighten the joints. So I will see how well it will work off the stream. And yeah, and I attached the paper, rolled up some paper and attached here at the ends so it looks like, you know, these like rubber ends, so you won't scratch your floor or anything. But yeah, but I'm glad this joint works. And yeah, and drilling this took me forever. Actually, the hand drill that my dad has was not working. I wasn't getting anywhere with the hand drill. But my dad also had like a little Dremel that we bought like years ago, that we bought at the drugstore, because it was supposed to be like a home Dremel for nails and for, you know, buffing nails and doing like some at-home nail salon. But he replaced one of the bits with a drill, so it was like a really like small battery operated drill, and it actually helped with drilling through that. So yeah, so it's nice. So the only shame is that you know, it's really loose on the joints. So even if it stands like this, the moment I put the keyboard in, the weight of the keyboard will actually like make it fall. So I am thinking of, one, tightening the joint so much so you will need to put force to open and close it. 2, shutting it close. Or 3, attaching little like additional rod or an I don't know, a piece of wood, so it will stop and not open any further once it hits the wood. I've seen some real life stands have this after some googling. So yeah, so this is where the stand is at. I'm glad that I managed to make it move, but I'm so like not happy that it doesn't it's really flimsy. So yeah. Oh, and I reinforced. I know, I already showed you how I glued everything with resin, so at least these joints should be like, especially after I cover them with primer and with paint, they should be like pretty strong. So yeah, so this is this. Oh, and also I might show you, but after some time, I will show you what I got at the museum. I was at the museum this last Saturday, because there is an event every year that during this night, precisely, lots of museums are free. Have free submission, and yeah, you can go, and to lots of them you can go and roam around. And I am a sucker for museum gift shops, and even if it's a museum, you know, in my city, in my country, and there are usually only, mostly Polish artists shown there. Like, it's still good to come every once in a while to just remind yourself that, hey, this is my country, this is the art of my country, it reflects our culture, and it's like a good, like, kind of grounding experience that, hey, we also have like some damn good artists, you know? So yeah. So let me bring my colored pencils, my Kohinoor Mondeluz 24 watercolor pencils. I have my water brushes here. You can tell that I might have a slight problem with keeping my things organized at the moment, because I have so many projects right now. And I feel like I should not start like right now working on a comic page when I have like everything like this on. Where is my other water brush? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I have my water brushes and I need to find my ref. Oh, one more thing. Look at the point of this. Well, I took the wrong pencil. Look at the point of these pencils. I sharpened every single one of these watercolor pencils with my new sharpener. These are so sharp. These are really so sharp. I am absolutely in love. Like, this is the sharpness I strive for when it comes to my pencils. This is why I freaking switched to mechanical pencils when I draw right now. Like, especially, like, I used to work only with regular pencils, but but when I was in high school, I started switching to mechanical pencils because, well, first off, sharpening your pencil, okay, it's okay when you're in school and if you have like one of those sharpeners with a little container for when you don't have a trash can to, you know, dispose your shavings, you know. But there came a time, especially when I started college, where there were no rubbish bins anywhere on the campus. And you had like your shaver filled with shavings, and you don't know where to dispose them of, and you end up with a blunt pencil and already filled like sharpener container, and you're like, well, I guess I don't draw. Because it was the time where I was mostly drawing and doodling in pencil. Right now I do this with pen because I figure out I better, you know, put on some big girl pants and do this with pen, you know. Joking. You're not a wuss and you're not a little girl and you're not inexperienced if your medium of choice is still a pencil. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. I just figured that I am at this point in my life where I should get more confident and also should have like a sketchbook only for doodling in pen in something permanent and not worry about, you know, erasing lots of stuff. So this is where I made the move. I had a separate sketchbook for finished art and separate for doodles in pen. And because of that, like, I started limiting the amount of art supplies, well, obviously, that I could get to the college, given that I was in tech uni. So me bringing the whole like pencil case with like full set of colored pencils and stuff was not something alright. I would have like a pen for taking notes, a fine liner, a ruler, and a mechanical pencil. And this is when I started to move towards mechanical pencils, because first off, they are always sharp. Second off, you can always, once your lead is finished, you can always switch out to the new lead, and it's equally as sharp. So it was better. So after that, I have absolutely like a lot of mechanical pencils. Like I also had to give out some, but yeah, since then I was mostly a mechanical pencil girl, and I'm using HB and 2B hardness of LEDs most of the time. It is something I am most comfortable with, even though I do have like a set of pencils, the regular pencils with the whole range of hardness. I do own one after my purge, but yeah, I realized that the H pencils, like the one I have here, that is not of the set, I don't have any more of the set. This one, 3H, annoying. I drew it with it last stream to illustrate some things. It's annoying. Like, I am very heavy-handed person, and I want the payout. I want the darkness, and these like kind of pencils do not give me the darkness. And by this kind of pencils, I mean the pencils with hard lead inside. The ones marked as H or number and H. The bigger the number, the harder it is. So yeah, so let me check. Red-tailed black shark. Red-tailed black shark. Yes. Oh, okay. It doesn't look like shark at all. I forgot how most of these fish look like. It doesn't look like shark at all. It looks kind of cute, especially with it, you know. Right now, when I would design these mermaids, I would make them a bit more non-binary, because these fish has like little whiskers, and it would look so cute, you know. Okay, let me open the new tab and find another one. It's Pearl, Gourami. Ooh, this one is nice. Ooh. Okay, I like these colors. I like these colors. Yes. Yes. And then last one from this patch will be albino bronze catfish. I believe this one is a little bit pinkish, if I recall correctly. Albino bronze catfish. Yes, because if something is albino, it looks more like pinkish to me, especially when we are talking about sea life. So yeah, so let me prepare some colors. So let me prepare some colors for the environment, and let me tell you if my background is like, my background is very dark. Let me get up and boot up the light, okay? At the top. So yeah. Let there be light. Yeah. So okay, so I have red-tailed black shark, which looks like will be against, I would say I will do the light green background. I think it would look nice. I'm looking at the pictures and it's like very like lime green against black, and it will give like a nice contrast. So okay, the next one, the pergurami will look the best against pure black background, because this fishy, oh my god, it's amazing. It's like almost neon. And albino bronze catfish I will put against black or really dark blue background, so the pink would just pop and be amazing. Okay. My god, the fact that these watercolor pencils are so short already. Like, well, granted, I had this set since high school, but yeah. Okay, so some red, but this would be like reddish orange more. Eyes are black. Yeah, eyes are black. There is a little bit, maybe a little bit of gray, like at the bottom here. And I will go with green and beige. And for these rocks, beige / brown. Like, I will go with slightly artificial rocks to make the character the darkest part of the picture. I think this would look okay. Okay, so how was everybody's day? My day was alright. But oh my god, I am laughing inside because, as you may or may not know, I'm tutoring my family friend's kid. And he was on a trip recently. And for the tutoring, he brought something that he bought during the trip. And he bought the device that, when you touch it, it will shock you, so you can prank everybody with it, including your tutor and your tutor's mom. Well, I know how it will shock me because I am familiar, but I did it anyway because, well, he's a kid, and I know it won't really hurt me, because if it would really hurt me, it wouldn't be like in retail. But to my detriment, this thing occupied his mind so much that I said, Mom, tell his mom that for the next tutoring session he should probably leave this at home, because oh my god, he was so occupied with finding, oh, what if you touch this and this part at the same time, and what if I put this like metal steel metal keychain end in here, will I circumference this current? And then asking me, hey, why is it shocking? Why is the electricity going that way? And I answer his questions, but then I say, but hey, look, this is how you count the area, how you calculate the area of a rectangle. Yay! So yeah, so you can say You can say it was very, very, very very eventful tutoring session. And like, on one hand I understand, because he's a kid, he doesn't like math. He has also problems with focusing, and yeah, and so I understand it, and I find it amusing when he starts like going on and talking about this this typical like I don't want to go into boys, am I right, but like there is something about children. I don't know, maybe it's because they are brought up in this environment and they think like, oh, this toy is the thing for the boys, so therefore I need to like it because I identify as a boy, and this is why I need to do this boy stuff, you know. And I think it's partially of the stuff like this. I partially understand, but at the same time I don't understand, because I was actually, when I was a little girl, I'm still a girl, when I was a little girl, I didn't like the color pink. I was so, and this is like something that resonates with a lot of women, as it turns out, when they were younger, because of the act of rebellion against anything pink, anything considered girly. Sort of rebellion to be your own person, to be outside of these like stereotypical girly activities. Like, I didn't like these dolls. I wasn't very much interested in dolls, like, regardless. Maybe a little bit later, when my parents brought one Bratz doll for me and one for my sister. This is when I started like to pick like favorite characters and stuff when it comes to like dolls and stuff, but it was really short-lived. I was more into playing virtual dollhouse like Sims and making stuff there. But yeah, I was really very much into like, I was into cars. I was collecting like the Hot Wheels, but they were not Hot Wheels, because we were probably like, we didn't have that much money for Hot Wheels, and I don't think my parents were really giving into any ads. And I was at the age where I absolutely didn't care for the ads, because I was thinking already at this age that no, all the ads that are talking about are either about disgusting toys that are advertised for boys, or toys that are supposed to make me a housewife. And I reject those, you know. I was that freaking edgy. Right now I try to embrace more of the stereotypical femininity. Like, I was so like anti-makeup. I was really anti like self-care, because I was thinking that no, makeup and fashion and taking care of yourself, these are things for girls, and for girls who don't think higher of themselves. Like, I was so mad at other girls for being like more girly than me, and I was thinking so poorly of people. Like, I was that like alternative kid who was thinking, oh, all these girls are like dumb blondes, and all these girls are just dumb blondes and they don't think, and like this and that, and like giving into like being this like emo kid that is mad at every preppy person that they see, even though you know, there were girls at my school who liked sports more. There were girls who were like different. There were girls who liked makeup and were popular who weren't blonde. Like, you know, it took me some learning to see that, oh my god, I was the girl from the high school drama that was bad thinking about anybody else only because they fit some stereotype or some gender norms more than I am. And only because of that. I don't know, maybe I was trying to validate myself and somehow, because I wasn't very much liked, I was like very standoffish. I was really not fitting in, and I was really sensitive and really focused on learning and being more, seeking more validation from adults. Like I remember that when I was a kid, I really liked I liked more adult companionship than kids companionship, but it really like backfired on me because first of all, nobody likes teacher pets, and second off, I was seeking validation from my peers as well, but I was seeking it through excelling at school, which, you know, at that age nobody cares about school and about academic results and stuff when you're a teenager. And partially I was seeking my internal validation because I was considering my brain and me being smart and me being a quick learner and me not being forgetful and me being responsible as one of my best traits, and one of my like only good traits. Like if I wasn't smart, I was nothing. This was like my thinking. So yeah. So add all of that and you get a lot of self-hatred, a lot of self-misogyny, and a lot of like dissatisfaction with my own life. Like I really wasn't like, even though like I was smart, like I was excelling at school, I was really freaking lonely. And I could not, like, for the love of me, go over the fear of being rejected and go over the fear of me approaching a group of people and they rejecting me. So I did not even try. This fear was freaking creeping to the point where I felt absolutely alone. And it was a horrible fear. And it led my brain absolutely like overthink and spiral, and it's not a good thing, especially for like 13, 14-year-old who, like, you know, struggles with rejection, struggles with things not going your way, especially when it comes to academics, because I also had my downs academically. Like there were some tests that did not go well, and when they did not go well, I went into hysteria. And you know, this added to the bullying on top of me not being already like on a great terms with some of the people in my class group. So this all just went spiraling. And it wasn't till I really started like a proper therapy, and have not like, and something that helps me, it might not necessarily help anybody else, because it kind of added to my loneliness. It added to my loneliness in one way, but relieved me of another burden. It was something that I absolutely changed when I graduated middle school. I entered high school. I chose high school that was like, for the longest time I couldn't find high school for me. Like, I knew there were some high schools around me, there was one high school in my district only, and I know I can go higher. And for the love of me, I couldn't find, like, I wasn't vibing with any school I was looking at. And when I overheard people going, like, talking about what school they are going to go, and I was like sitting there, like listening and just making notes that, oh my god, they are going to this school, this person is going to this school. Like, I didn't want it to even chance getting to the same school as them, because it would be like reliving all of this again, like all the situation and my reputation and the thing people were thinking of me would just carry on through high school. And I know I didn't want that. And yet, in every high school that I was looking at, I was not seeing myself. Like, one high school would require me to learn another language from scratch, and it was also a school that was like really close to nuns, really close. I think it was really close to like a nun school, or even, yeah, it was really close to nun school, or like really close to, or even partially funded by the nun cloister, or something like that. But I wasn't vibing with it. They would require me to learn the new language from scratch, and me from, like, I was already learning German from 3 years and English for 6 years. So leaving all of that to learn French from scratch was not for me. And I know I wouldn't go to the school, even though it was pretty good school, and it would be really a good, like, pretty close to home. I knew I wouldn't go because most of the people were going there, and I didn't want to count my chances. So when by chance I was searching for schools that have their like door open day, some schools host that, to get new recruits and stuff. There's usually some teachers or some other students like coming and talking about their experience, trying to hype up the school and stuff, So I searched the net, I searched the schools that were good in the ranks, to think of my future. And I know that my exam, like, I didn't know no, but I was feeling that I could aim high, but I was so crippled and afraid that even though I am smart and etc., all the things that I was talking myself and hyping myself, and not hyping myself, but I was convincing myself that I am, but at the same time I am not good enough for a school in the first 10 of schools in my city. I am smart, but not that smart, This was this kind of, this kind of testament. I was there like thinking like, no, these schools like are already like, they are too high in the ranks. These were too low in the ranks. I heard some mixed reviews about some. I heard that some, especially the higher in the ranks, they are really pushing it to keep the ranks high. Like, whole slew of like teachers pressing for grades, pressing for performing at the extracurricular contests and stuff. And I know at the time my mental health was not good for this amount of stress if I was already stressing myself out with just regular schoolwork, you know, because I was stressing myself out for good grades even though no one wanted them. No one wanted me to get good grades, not even my parents. This is something strange. I wanted to have my parents so happy with myself, so proud of me and happy with me and stuff. They were never pressing me for grades. And I was pressing myself for grades, which is absolutely crazy. Because I was trying to prove myself that I am this good girl, that I am this good kid, that I am worthy of things, you know? And it's just, oh my god, it wrecked me. It absolutely wrecked me. So I purposely chose school that is like, we went to this open door event and I went to the school and I instantly was like liking it. I was not sure. It was like my first school to choose. I was still not sure whether or not I will get in. Like, no, I will probably get in. Most probably get in. But I was worried how I would handle the commuting. Because it would be an hour of commuting in one way. Which right now, looking back, it's something I don't think it's bad because it prepared me for college, which required me like 45 minutes of commute. Or for my work, which also requires me 45 minutes of commute. So from the day I was 16 and I started attending this high school, I was already like preparing my body for waking up at 6, getting prepared to go to the bus stop at 7, commuting so I would get to the 8, to my classes at 8. So yeah, wonderful, right? But this is something that really prepares me for commuting later in my life. Because I live in such a district that it's mostly like composed of really small businesses and residential apartment complexes, residential buildings. So if I wanted to, you know, work for a bigger company or, you know, study in a college, I already had to, you know, get used to commuting. And commuting a lot. But hey, it is my story. This is my experience. It's mostly in the past, but yeah, like it was really like I hear that for many people like high school was really traumatic. And I didn't understand it, but now I do, because in many countries high school starts at 14, and 14 is such a stupid age. Like, you're so like edgy, you try to still figure yourself out, and you finish high school when you're an adult. So it's like you are with the same people who saw you being cringe, and they could never stop thinking of you as being cringe, because you were still there. Like, if I had the same people when I was 14 till I was 18, I would be cooked. I would really not like that. So me changing schools and so for me high school was like absolute fresh start for me. Like, the only freshest start would be if I absolutely like move out to another city where no one absolutely knows us. This would be the absolute freshest of the fresh starts. But yeah. But yeah, I went on such a tangent. I started from why are little boys so like hyped about pranking and stuff that is like kinda like to me referring my whole life story. GG, Nina, GG. But hey, I didn't cry. This is this is the this is the progress. This is something that when I think about I've heard about art therapy, and I did try to calm myself down, or to put frustrations on paper, crumple it, like, just scratch over it. It never for me helped. I know it might be like an anger and emotion relief to some people, but it never helped for me. Like, and I know that vent art exists, and it exists, as a way of self-expression and relief. And I did committed some vent art, but they were never like this destructive and in nature, and I had to be in a mindset of really portraying this part of my mind. So yeah, at this point in my life, when I was really feeling absolutely like gutted, I wasn't like, I had bad thoughts. I had violent thoughts, but violent towards myself more, if you know what I mean. rather than towards other people. Yeah, rather than towards other people. So me putting it on paper and reliving it on paper, like, I try it, but it felt so fake, because I wouldn't like... I am the person that doesn't take emotions on inanimate objects. Like, I know some people scream, so people punch pillows or something, you know, or punch something soft to also not hurt themselves in the process of reliving these emotions onto other object. But I was never a person like this. Like, I don't like distraction. So I was not... It wasn't working for me, unfortunately. And at this like point, I think this like... I was really like vivid mind. I was coming up with stories, but only in my mind. I was not putting anything on paper, so it was really like the least fruitful period of my life, well, artistically fruitful period of my life, which only proves that if in order to create, you need to be mentally healthy. You really need to be mentally healthy, because like, I've seen people like on the internet saying, oh yeah, the best artists were depressed and stuff, and I'm like, bruh, I can speak that I was in that state. I didn't want to do anything at all. My mind was running wild, but my hands were just static. I was thinking of everything and doing nothing artistically. So how about you take this thinking that only depression and mental illness produces great artists, and take it somewhere else? Because I can tell you, and I can even quantify to you, how much art I was doing in middle school, how much, even though I liked art and I was doing extracurricular classes in art, and I was trying to get my art grade. Yes, we have art classes with grading system and stuff, and I was trying to do my art grade like high enough so it will be like one of the saving grades of my grade point average. Like, I still liked art. I wanted to do art. Like, I was even thinking of making art as a profession, but when it comes to my own ideas, I had a lot of them, but didn't put any one of them. I wasn't absolutely like in there mentally. To actually do anything with them. And I was focusing on doing more art that was with assignments, rather than drawing for myself. I did only a couple of drawings through that time, mostly focused on like on like some other types of drawing, definitely not OCs and not stories, even though I was thinking of them, my mind was filled with them, but I was not putting them on paper. I was trying also like another medium of expressing these stories, so the drawing for me was not that much. And I can tell that in my, like, I still do have ups and downs, that in my worst, moments, like, drawing is the least of my concerns. Which is bad because I love art. I love creating. But poor mental health takes away that love. And takes away that pleasure of putting, things on the paper, of creating something from scratch, of visualizing your thoughts, of putting water onto pigment and seeing it just forming things on top. Like, it sucks all of this out. So, oh my god, wait, let me do something first. Wait. Wait, it's been a while since I saved my streams. I don't want them to expire. Wait, I will turn off the music for a moment because I need to listen to my voice, and it will be double feedback, and it's annoying. So let me go to the creator dashboard, especially for the past broadcasts. Yes. Oh my god. Not the content. Yes, video producer. And yeah, oh my god, I need to save the highlight of my trip to Czechia, because oh my god, this is a good stream and I want to save this. So yeah, let me extend this. Okay, let me listen. Where is... Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Come on. Okay, how is everybody doing today? It's here. Okay, 4:20. Hehe, nice. 4:20. Okay, it starts at 4:23. Yes, hi, how is everybody doing? Starts here. Okay, publish this. I'm only publishing highlights right now. I need to really... This Sunday, I will absolutely... I will absolutely... Oh my god, what is my dog going on about? I was out with Milo just before the stream. Okay, and also there are 2 days before my previous mermaid mermaid stream goes out. So let me also do this. It starts around this mark. Let me listen to this and see. Yeah. Let me get 5. Okay, how? Okay. Okay, crisis averted. Oh my god, I actually need to put some dot switch. I actually need to put the reminder for me to a reminder to actually save these streams more often. Okay, so we have a little bit of coloring here. Oh, there is a good time. I think I will finish all these 3 today. I need to be delicate about this, around this line art, because as I said before the last stream, unfortunately the ink in this pen that I used here is not water resistant, so I need to be extra cautious around line art to not dissolve it. Even though I did this line art 6 years ago, it's still like can be reactivated, especially if I work with my brush too much and, you know, start rubbing off some of the pigment. Let me start with the lightest areas and then go to the darkest. So I think I will color in this fishy, put the water in here. And then I will move on to this one. It's very similar colors, the color scheme is very similar, and I think the colors would just not muddy each other. Because, you know, if you use your brush, whether it's your regular brush or water brush, and you don't rinse or clean it between colors, the pigment that is on your brush might contaminate the other color you're working with. And if these colors are not compatible, which is if this is, for example, cool shade of red, which is like more magenta red, and a warm shade of yellow, which is more golden yellow, they would mix and form a really poopy, desaturated orange instead of like real fresh orange. This is why you also need to pay attention what colors you use when you mix new colors, because oftentimes, and this is something I noticed myself, oftentimes, especially when you have pieces and colors that come in a set, oftentimes these sets offer, for example, a warmer red, which would be like more scarlet red. Like, okay, look at these two reds. One is more orange. Like, this one seems more orange, but on its own it looks red, you know? But together with the different shade of red, it looks like orange. But Nina, this is orange. Yes, this is orange. But there are different shades of reds, and depending on what kind of yellow you have, you will, in order to get the true color, you need to mix the proper warmth of color. This is something I've seen on the internet, and this is something I've learned. So, for example, you have two shades of red. One is more scarlet, which is more orangey, which is more warmer, and one is more magenta, which is more cooler. It's a bit pinkish red. And we have two yellows. One is lemon yellow, which is cooler. It's a little bit greenish. Like, it seems a little bit greenish, like neon, like kind of artificial. And the other one is golden yellow, which feels more to a true yellow. Now, what if we mix warm and warm? Like, you will get a good mix, because the warmth will work together to mix another warm color. But if you mix not warm red and warm orange, the cold and warm will form gray. And gray with anything will make it muddy, will make it desaturated. If it's something you're going for, go for it. But usually people are very disappointed when they get like a set or a primary colors, and they mix their yellow and blue, and their green is like not fresh, not saturated, like it looks poopy, because the yellow they had, it was not compatible with with the blue they had, because they are the same blues. Like, look at this blue, okay, and look at this blue. One of them has like a little bit, like, it seems more greener, and the other one seems more violet. Like, you can't see this on stream, but IRL see that the one I would use for turquoise, it's more like this one, and this one is like closer to indigo. So all in all, instead of 3 primary colors, you have like 3 sets of primary colors. You have the cool set, yeah, and you have the warm set. Or if you really want to put into the color wheel, you have warm, cool, again warm, warm, and cool. Wait. We have warm red. No, this way. This way. Okay. Yeah, so you have cool red, warm yellow, cool yellow. Now beware. No, wait, it will be cool blue and warm blue. Although I would say that this blue is more warmer, but you have, like, if you put it in this set and mix it like in this way, you will have a better chance at mixing like a fresh green when you mix like slightly greener lemon yellow, that it's slightly fresher and more neon, and slightly more turquoise looking blue. You will have a much better chance of making green. I need to check if I have the color wheel somewhere that I made with my own supplies that would show it better. And, well, of course, you may try and look for like the true red, the true yellow, the true blue, the true cyan, in order to really mix the color that are neutral, that are not warm nor cold, you know. But it's pretty hard to find, because for me, it always like kind of leaned one way to another, and it's really also like subjective. But yeah, so if you, for example, have this blue and you went from this blue with the brush, you did not clean the brush, and you went with warm yellow, no, not with warm yellow has more, and you went with, after cool yellow, it will just, you will contaminate this really lovely warm yellow with this slightly, this cool yellow, with this slightly warmer blue, which has hints of red because it's a little bit more violet, and violet plus yellow, they are complementary colors, they will form gray. So therefore your green will be poopy and you will contaminate your lovely yellow spots with poopy green if you don't clean your brush. So clean your brush after, when you're switching to different color groups. Unless you like having poopy colors. In that case, you know, depending on what vibe you're going for, sometimes it is needed. It is wanted. It is desirable by artists. I'm not joking. Like sometimes I do myself like a sub green. I prefer sub green to the lime and emerald green that is presented, because for me sub green looks more like natural. So yeah, sometimes you do want poopy colors, and this is alright because we're all artists. We all want to express ourselves, and sometimes you need poopy green to express what you need. For example, here, I know that blue and brown, while brown being a shade of orange, in fact, are not mixing well, but here I actually want them to mix well because I want this rock to, I want them to mix, so I don't worry. I want this rock to, you know, be more included in the background. So I am mixing these two colors on the paper, and it will also give me an interesting effect, and this is something I am doing consciously. So when I know what I'm doing this. If I don't know what I'm doing and I get this effect, it's a happy accident, and you either live with it or you try to fix it. Because not all accidents are happy accidents, unfortunately, especially if you ruin your line art and you really don't want to redraw it. So yeah. Fixing mistakes in art, or when you really don't want to redraw. And I understand that there are some things, that there are some like artworks where I did mistake and I did not want it to, you know, draw it again because it was not fitting my... I am the person who doesn't like drawing the same thing over again. Like I need a slightly different concept every time. So yeah, so for example, we're drawing the same stuff, like as interesting as it is, like it is usually a drag for me. Or when I had a commission and I was commissioned to do the same picture that I was doing for someone else because someone else liked it, and it was as neutral of a design that it could be applied to anyone, I felt really like bad because it wasn't stimulating for me. It was me repeating the same steps I already did with very little alteration. And then I was only frustrated that why it doesn't look the same as the first time. So yeah, so I'm not usually like liking redrawing stuff. I need to change something in order to redraw. Either medium or concept, color scheme. Like, I'm drawing my OCs all the time and I'm not bored of them. But it's because, well, my OCs are interesting for me. They live in my head rent-free for already a decade now. And I like coming up with scenarios and illustrations for them, and no illustration is the same. And if I redraw the same like setup or picture, I make sure to make it slightly different, like maybe with a revamped design, maybe with a new like medium or texture or something else that I discovered along the way between the redraw. So yeah, so when you make a mistake in your artwork, stop and think what you can do. And depending on the medium you use, you can do a couple things. When I did some mistakes during, well, I did right now because I went over the line, but I will show you how I fix it. Depending on the medium, you can do a couple things. When you're using, well, if you're using dry media that you can try and to erase, you can try and to erase that. If you can't erase them, you can cover it with a post-it note or a piece of paper or a label paper. Warning, depending on if you're doing mixed media, test it before, because some of these papers may not be the same weight as the paper you're working on. And if you're using wet media, might warp this part of paper. So for example, if I don't like the face and I like everything else, I would put a label paper. There are papers that you can buy in like any office stores. There's like a pack of like 100 or something, and they are made so you can print out your labels. They have self-adhesive at the back, and this is something I am using constantly when I'm making mistakes in line art, for example, that I can't erase, and I know I will be using wet media afterwards, and wet media afterwards, or a medium that will not work well with the ink. But mostly I use it for dry media, generally. For wet media, I try to paste a piece of paper that is of the same weight. With dry media, depending on the vibe you're going for, a post-it note might be good if you're going for a pop of color, or just a label paper, or paste in a regular printer paper. And yes, I hate how it shows up on a picture, but you can always edit it out. This is something that I don't know why I've ever tell, but I used to make far more mistakes and have a harder time accepting them or accepting the fixes. So So I was really happy user. I was really label paper happy, like fixing any mistakes, especially when I was using more colored pencils, so dry media. And to some extent it worked with for me it worked with wet media to some extent, not to overwork the paper, but 1 or 2 layers of watercolors usually worked for me. The problem was when you were taking pictures and there was always a shade, or there was always the shape of the patch telegraphing. So this is when I always scan my pictures. So when I scan my pictures, I would go to GIMP when I was using GIMP, or Medibank when I was still using Medibank, or Clip Studio Paint, because I'm still using Clip Studio Paint, and use the stamping tool around and just try to blend the texture, blend the shade around the patch. And of course, by the way, fix up some contrast and color balance when I'm at it, like crop the picture properly, because when you scan, of course the scanner is not ideal depending on the brand of scanner you have, depending on how well it is calibrated, depend on brand, depend on the age of the scanner. The colors might, and depending on the materials, especially because some materials don't scan well. This is especially known with alcohol markers. Yeah, so also test your materials that way. So some materials and some colors don't scan well. For me, it is the case with skin tones. Well, not skin tones, with my skin tone, with my freaking pasty white skin tone that I draw. Like, it's so, for me it always comes out of scanning very bad, so I need to color correct it to make it look more like in real life, and these are things that should be normalized, that you make mistakes but you fix them in order to make art that is pleasant to look at. And when you archive it, or when you scan it to archive it or to post it, you fix this. Like, you can do this in post-production. You can use mixed media, so use a bit of heavier post-production, like really use some brushes to color in the places that you didn't color, or you felt a little bit discouraged to color around. Touch up on some places, like do the mixed media treatment on your traditional artworks. And by traditional, I mean the artworks that are used using traditional media, which are on paper, canvas, and other physical media, as opposed to digital art, which is made using digital media and digital tools, not even though like some digital tools are physical, because, well, this stylus pen is there, it is physical, but the software itself is not physical, it's digital. So yeah, so you can like use it to your advantage and touch it up. So this is another like way that you can just do the, like, marry the traditional and the digital together. Right now I'm using a little bit of black to just bring in more texture and just make everything a smidge darker. So yeah, so another way, and this is something that I will show you in a minute, Oh, 2157. Make a wish. So in the so when I'm working, for example, with watercolors and with other like wet media, watercolors, gouache, well, with gouache and acrylics, the fix-up is more straightforward because these are opaque media, so you can paint over them once the previous layer was dry. With gouache, it might take a little bit of more patience and layers because in my experience, and this is something I think comes with just inexperience with gouache, but in my experience, when I try to patch up the mistake, I end up lifting the color that is wrong again and just making it here again. So you might need to be more patient or use other methods of fix up, or try to pick up the pigment, because when it comes to watercolors and gouache, they are reactivated by water. So you can saturate the place where you made mistake with water, and then have an eyedropper, syringe, or a paper towel to pick up this drop of this patch of water. And usually, depending on the paper you use and depending on the material you use, so always test it beforehand, but usually with a good quality of materials and paper, you will be able to lift up the pigment and therefore lessen the visibility of the mistakes. In my case, I don't use usually like good watercolors. Usually I have some leftovers. I'm using up leftovers, and I'm not using watercolor paper right here. So what am I doing when I know that, when I, in my experience, know that picking up the pigment won't work? Well, in this case, when I'm working with watercolors, I have a tube of gouache, and I use gouache to fix my mistakes. I might tint the gouache a little bit with watercolor to get the color I want, or I will let the gouache and the watercolors on paper mix to get a lighter color of that. And because gouache is thicker than watercolor, it's more opaque. It's opaque than watercolor, while still having some attributes of watercolor, like being water soluble and water reactivable. You can use gouache to cover the mistakes, and I do this all the time. This is one of the things I do all the time when it comes to my watercolor art, especially when I make some mistakes. If I can't patch it up, if it really doesn't match the weight of the paper, or I don't want to do the patch, or I don't feel confident, the mistake is too bad to do it in post-processing or after scanning, I would use gouache and try to fix it with gouache. So for example, in here I got a little bit of careless and got a bit of blue on top of her light pink hair. And just doesn't look good. So I would get a tube of gouache, if I would find it. I had my tube of gouache here somewhere. All I find is glue right now. Where's my gouache? Where is my gouache? Oh, there it is. Of course. So I have a tube of gouache. This is white gouache, regular white gouache. So I have a tube of gouache. I take clean brush. It can be water brush. It doesn't have to be water brush. It can be regular brush, just clean, a little bit damp. Get a bit of gouache and just put it here. Put it in the places that you want to cover, and gouache, in my experience, I haven't yet found any other supply that would give me this effect, but gouache is like the best to also the best to also make highlights. So I will do this right now. I will do some highlights right now. Some eye shines, a little bit of, even though this fishy has slightly matte scales, but I don't know, I like giving a little bit of freckles and texture. And of course the eye shines. Okay, let's clean my brush, and now I will use, for this fish, I will use a bit of, I will cover the fish in gray, but only dab the water onto some elements of it, because this fishy has some nice like spots. And I want to accent these spots by only activating and making gray puddles in some places. I will try and dot it. I will see if I will like it. If not, well, there is a mistake I did. And I need to fix it or live with it. I am now on a slightly damp paper. I am using the pencil nib directly, and I'm doing circular motions. And the dampness of the paper actually breaks out the pigment from the pencil, so I'm using, it's kind of like the pencil right now, it's my brush. Okay, let me dampen the nib a little bit, make it slightly wet, and now use slight stippling to also make a bit more interesting texture. Stippling, doing circular motions. Because this fishy is really interesting, like it has like only light green spots, so everything else should be like gray / transparent. But yeah, this is something I also need to learn, is to accept that some things I wouldn't be able right now to recreate traditionally using physical media, and that I should learn to make some digital, learn to put a little bit of more of digital media in my work and make it like more of a mixed media thing. Because I think this one would look really dope with the real fish coloring. I think out of this set of three, this one I would think would classify for some sort of remake. Not necessarily redraw, but a remake. Because the fish species is great, the design of the fish is really interesting, and it might might bring something interesting to the table when it comes to character design and its colors. But my execution, not great in this case. Maybe digitally will be a bit better, but I am willing to move on for now from this. So I will mark this piece as one that needs to be scanned. So let me find it on my whip list, and then while it's on whip list, it will be marked as to scan, and then I will know that it needs to be scanned. So it was May number 13, 14, 15. Okay. 13, 14, 15. Okay. So yeah, so I think I will end the stream a little bit earlier right here. So roadmap for the next week will be as follow. Next stream on Thursday I'm playing Sims. So on 23rd it will be Sims Thursday. And on Tuesday, 28th, it will be my monthly subscriber raffle, where you can order me what to draw. And there will be there will be stream on 30th. It will be digital art. Yeah. There will be stream on 30th. So digital art on 30th. I might study the background or work on the comic cover, something to fill my bingo card. Okay, but it will be digital art. There was no digital art like in a while. I said this every month, every half a month. Okay, so thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for coming, chatting, lurking, and spending some time with me. So stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next stream. So goodbye.